And what's happened in the Williams garage?
Raikkonen's car.
Oh, there was fire in the pit lane as well.
Anyway, comes Lewis Hamilton. He goes straight on into the gravel trap. Can he keep?
Here are the worst pit stops in F1 history. In Formula One, every millisecond counts, and a place where teams can make up or even lose a few milliseconds is during the pit stop. Did you know that Red Bull currently holds the record for the fastest time to change all 4 of a car's tires, an absurdly rapid 1.923 seconds? Well, welcome to DRS Speed Hunters, and in today's video we're going to explore the worst pit stops in F1 history. But before we dive in, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for all the latest updates and exciting content ahead. Stay tuned until the end because we've got some surprising details about one of the worst pit stop incidents that even the biggest F1 fans might not know. With different pit members tasked with different responsibilities, you never know what's going to get tangled up during these pit stops, at least not these F1 drivers that you're about to see. Esteban Ocon in Baku 2023. When Alpine's Esteban Ocon came into the pits on the last lap of the 2023 Azerbaijan GP to make his mandatory pit stop, of all the obstacles he could have expected to meet, an assembled group of photographers in the fast lane was most likely not on that bingo card. With the race on its final lap and media personnel readying for the podium celebrations, word seemingly did not get around that Ocon had not yet stopped in the race. Only some good work on the brake pedal from Ocon and fleet-footed photographers prevented disaster. Understandably, Ocon never wanted to see a repeat of that scary moment again, and Formula One's F1 body, the FIA, was of course in agreement, which led to revisions of some pit lane protocols. Kimi Raikkonen, Lewis Hamilton, and Nico Rosberg in Canada of 2008. During the Canadian Grand Prix in 2008, a pit stop scenario unfolded that changed the race for Kimi Raikkonen, Lewis Hamilton, and Nico Rosberg. When a safety car was deployed, most drivers, including Raikkonen, Hamilton, and Rosberg, dove into the pits for tire changes and refueling. As Raikkonen and another driver, Robert Kubica, completed their stops, they arrived at the end of pit lane and stopped side by side, waiting for the green light to re-enter the track. Hamilton, coming out of his own pit box and not noticing the red light in time, approached Raikkonen at a high speed and collided with the back of his car. Rosberg, following close behind, also couldn't react quickly enough and hit Hamilton's car. This chaotic pit lane crash ended both Hamilton and Raikkonen's races, while Rosberg had to pit again for repairs. The incident became a costly mistake in Hamilton's championship campaign that season, and Raikkonen lost out on a potential strong finish. Kazuki Nakajima in Brazil of 2007. 22-year-old debutant Kazuki Nakajima replaced retired Williams driver Alexander Wurz, and he made his first Formula One pit stop in an awful way. It was very wrong. After an initial collision from which the driver recovered, he pulled into the pits. He completely misjudged the stop, and in the process, he took out a couple of crew members with him. The injured mechanics, who pulled themselves up dutifully to finish what they started, were taken to the medical center shortly thereafter. The all-clear was given, and thus a frightening situation actually had a positive outcome. Adrien Sutil and Robert Kubica crash in Hungary in 2010. Is it dangerous enough when a lack of accuracy from a driver spells trouble for the mechanics, but a potential whole new level of severity is reached when it comes to cars colliding around the personnel at work? In 2010, Force India driver Adrien Sutil had a promising start from 13th on the grid, but a collision with Robert Kubica prevented him from scoring any points. Renault's Kubica, who had just gotten done with his own pit, was released into Sutil's path, who was pulling in. An oversight by both teams rendered both cars out for good. Vijay Mallya, chairman and team principal of Force India, was particularly miffed after both drivers came home empty-handed. Renault was fined $50,000 for an unsafe release. Thankfully, the only thing that was wounded was Renault's bank account. Jerome D'Ambrosio's spin in Hungary of 2011. While that collision between Sutil and Kubica was worrying enough, it was only 1 year later at the same venue where the Marussia crew were in for quite the fright. As the Belgian racer tried to negotiate the greasy surface on his way to the Marussia pit box, he would instead lose control of the car and go into a spin, heading straight for the waiting folks of Marussia. It was a huge relief when the car ran out of momentum just before arriving on the scene of the mechanics. Disaster avoided. Hey, if you're liking these close calls and crazy moments, be sure to hit that like button and show your support. Lewis Hamilton in China of 2007. This incident effectively wrecked Mansell's title hopes that year, and there were similar implications for Lewis Hamilton at the 2007 Chinese Grand Prix, where he paid the ultimate price for going wide at the pit lane entry. As Hamilton headed for the pits on severely worn and dry tires, he failed to negotiate the left turn and slid into the gravel trap. getting his McLaren beached there. That spelled the first retirement of his Formula One career and the one that ultimately cost him the World Championship in his rookie campaign. Felipe Massa in Singapore of 2008. Hey, tires can be tricky, but back in the day, fuel hoses had their own way of keeping things interesting in Formula One. Take, for example, Felipe Massa's unforgettable moment at the very first Singapore Grand Prix. What should have been a routine pit stop for the race leader quickly spiraled into disaster. With the safety car deployed after Nelson Piquet's crash, Brazilian driver Massa headed to the pits, setting the stage for a dramatic twist that would go down in F1 history. Not only did Ferrari release him prematurely with the fuel hose still attached, which forced mechanics to chase after him and remove it as he dropped to the back of the pack, but Ferrari also sent him out into the path of Force India's Adrien Sutil, resulting in a drive-through penalty for Massa. He ended up finishing the race, which he was on course to win down in P13. However, Felipe Massa finished the 2008 season in second place, just one heartbreaking point behind Lewis Hamilton of McLaren. Kimi Raikkonen and Heikki Kovalainen in Brazil of 2009. While Sutil was able to avoid getting caught up in Massa's dramas, a year later, Massa's Ferrari teammate Kimi Raikkonen was, though no fault of his own, involved in a fiery incident with McLaren's Heikki Kovalainen. In the 2009 Brazilian Grand Prix, Finnish driver Heikki Kovalainen planned to make an early pit stop. His pit crew pushed him out even before they could detach the fuel hose, and McLaren ripped the hose from its base, spraying fuel all over the lane. The Iceman, Kimi Raikkonen, was just finishing his pit too, and found himself right behind his fellow Finn. Doused in fuel, his Ferrari was momentarily engulfed in flames due to the hot bodywork, with some fuel finding its way into the driver's eyes through the open visor on his helmet. In spite of this setback, Raikkonen fought his way back to finish sixth. Lewis Hamilton, the 2013 Malaysian Grand Prix. Having recently made the switch from McLaren to Mercedes ahead of the 2013 season, Lewis Hamilton completely forgot his newfound loyalties when he turned into pit lane. The search for fresh tires in the 8th lap started at the McLaren pit, where his former pit crew was ready for his former teammate, Jenson Button. Quickly realizing his mistake, he went through and found the right corner. Hamilton was lucky at least because the Mercedes pit was further away from the McLaren pit. Otherwise, he would have had to lap again to get his set of tires. Mark Webber, the German Grand Prix in 2013. Often, pit lane mistakes are at least a little bit amusing, but this one is downright terrifying. The Red Bull mechanics, usually known for their lightning-fast stops, were struggling to secure Mark Webber's right rear wheel. As they were working on it, the signal was given for him to leave. As the Australian set off, the wheel detached and started rolling at a very fast speed down pit lane. It hit a wheel gun on the floor and bounced up, striking cameraman Paul Allen. He suffered a broken collarbone and ribs, but otherwise was thankfully okay. Webber, who had looked on course to challenge to win the race, recovered to 7th. And with that, we've come to the end of our video, the worst pit stop disasters in F1 history, where even the tiniest error turned into unforgettable moments. But here's something surprising that many fans don't realize about Felipe Massa's pit stop incident in the 2008 Singapore Grand Prix. Many don't know that this premature release with the fuel hose attached was triggered by Ferrari's risky decision to use an automated light system instead of the traditional lollipop sign. The automated system malfunctioned, showing a green light too early, a split-second mistake that not only cost Massa the race, but is believed to have contributed to him losing the 2008 World Championship by just a single point. However, the incident wasn't just bad luck. Later, it was revealed that Nelson Piquet's crash, which triggered the safety car and Massa's pit stop chaos, was intentionally staged by Renault to help his teammate Fernando Alonso win the race. This scandal, known as Crashgate, rocked the F1 world and led to severe penalties for Renault, forever changing the way that teams strategize in races. It's a painful reminder of how both a tech error and behind-the-scenes manipulation can reshape F1 history. Hey, if you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more fast and speed-fueled content. And let us know in the comments which pit stop incident shocked you the most. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on our next one.